Hello YouTube! It is webcam premiere time again. Today is June 7th, the morning of the first webcam premiere in the Firestorm format. Very exciting stuff. I actually got some sleep last night, unlike yesterday, unlike last week with the P&M where I went into it with no sleep, and that was definitely not a good decision I made. I did manage to get some sleep last night, but I did wake up a bit early, so it is 7:30 a.m. right now. We are still like 2.5 hours away from the premiere starting up, but I'm awake already, so it's like might as well film this stuff ahead of time. We are currently sitting at 119 entrants for this webcam premiere, I believe. Let me just refresh the page to make sure. Yeah, 119. So unless 9 more people enter in the next 2 hours, no, it would be 10 more people. If we get 10 more entrants in the next 2 hours, then we will hit 8 rounds in top 16 top cut. Otherwise, we are going to be in the weird zone at the top end of the 7 round thresholds, which means like one X2 will make it, and largely you will need to be X1 to make it into the top cut. Of course, qualifying points go all the way down to the top 32. All the X2s will be guaranteed to make at least top 32, and a few of the X3s will make top 32 as well. We are once again playing spiders. We're playing a pretty different build from what we were playing last time. I'm trying out some other different stuff. It is a mortal version of spiders. There are no divine runes in it actually this time. But that's all the preamble done. So let's get into the deck before the tournament begins. All right, here we are with the main deck. You'll notice, of course, as I mentioned, there's no Hestia in this build. I really want to roll up with a main deck using Hestia's Hearth at least once, since Spiders did not really perform in the PNM. There were no X2s in Spiders, or no Spiders in Top Cut. So it's a deck that's not really on a lot of people's radar right now, especially because it didn't end up performing in the PNM. I should have made X2 if I didn't screw up in my last round, but that doesn't really matter. This tournament is when I'm most likely to be able to catch people off guard with the Hestia's Hearth on the Champion Warmite. If it's just too bricky, then the Hestia's Hearth can just become the Hestia's, and that would be the swap that happens there. That would be how we would put that back in. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of with this list is that I'm down to 2 Frostmite. I really like having 3 Frostmite. It's really nice security. I don't really want to have to risk dying to a gaze by going through Kite-Mite to get to Frostmite. But we are on Kinleo and Novelith in this build, and the reality with trying to fit in the 3rd Frostmite is because we are hard locked to 40 in this game. I would have had to cut the Lavalith to fit the Frostmite or the 3rd layer, and I really didn't want to do either of those things. It was like either cut the 3rd Frostmite, the Lavalith, or the 3rd layer. It was like I really don't want to do any of those things. So the 3rd Frostmite is what feels the least bad to do, because you still effectively have access to 5 copies of it. As far as consistency seeing it is involved, there's no way to recur them from the underworld though. So like if we go through 2 of them, we don't have access to it anymore, which does kind of suck if our opponent was rolling out a bunch of Astrabbits or otherwise high defense guys. The big thing with this build is that we're on 3 Cryoblast. I've been testing this for the last week, and Cryoblast performs very, very, very good. You can take out some really big things by combining Frostmite with Cryoblast, which is really, really sick. The cards is incredible in this deck, and the main reason I feel comfortable not running Hestia in this build is because Cryoblast does a lot to help us get back into game states where we've fallen behind on board and need to catch up. Cryoblast is really good at doing that for us. Otherwise, a lot of similar concepts. We do have the altars in here as before. So like we can use either Castia's Hearth or Altar of Stars to turn Champion Warmite into a combat trick, which is really cool. I still don't feel the need for any more than 2 copies of the Champion Warmite, because we can access it with Kite Might if we already have access to a Hearth or an Altar of Stars. Um, and excluding the Hearth because it's not reliably going to be able to affect combat, because it can only do that if we have Champion Warmite. We have 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 battle affecting counter runes, which is a pretty good amount. I feel a bit weird about Altar here because we don't have Hestia, which means we have less Nexus Banks. The same applies to Kinleo. But we see there, like, frequently enough that Altar is very, very often going to be able to be online, either from us having multiple Elestrals or having a layer that we can Nexus off to, which always feels pretty good. I really like being able to get that extra value out of layer. And as I mentioned last time, a really nice thing about layer is that about Altar, sorry. One of the nicest things about Altar is that one of the best ways your opponent can go, okay, I'm shutting down your Hearth plate, is like run out like an Eddy or something like that changes position, or Tsunami on the previous turn. Because if the Warmite is in defense, then I am not going to be able to extract the value out of that combat trick, because I'm not going to be able to kill my opponent's Elestral from them swinging in. I'm just going to be stopping the attack, which isn't exactly where we want to be. We really want it to be this big swingy combat trick. So Altar is very nice as an additional way of triggering that combat trick, in that if our Warmite is in defense because of Tsunami or Eddy, Altar allows us to switch Warmite back to attack, so that we are triggering what we need to trigger, or like switching any of our Elestrals back to attack, because like the combat tricks with them working in swinging into any of our things. Lavalith is pretty great. Maybe we can be a true fire player and manifest it in our hand more often. I think I saw it once in the PNM. But yeah, that's not, there's not much else to talk about here. A lot of similar theory from last time, but we're dropping the Hestia for the Hestia's Hearth, trying to lean in more on the combat trick stuff, taking advantage of Hearth when like it's not necessarily on everyone's radar yet. And Cryoblast for its high synergies with Frostmite and its ability to get us back into board states that we are losing. Yeah, that's going to be it. So let's get into the Spirit deck. Alright, now we have the Spirit deck. So this is almost identical to what we had before, I think. I think we had one less Thunder before. I think we had one less Thunder and one less Frost for 2 more Fire. Since we're not on Hestia in this build, we don't need as many Fires, because one of the only problems with Hestia is to do any sort of Hestia play, you need to have 3 Fires remaining. We don't have Hestia in this build, so we don't need quite as many Fires. Our Fire requirements are much lower because of that. And we do want a number of Fires so that we can like safely spend a bunch of Fires in the early game, and then we want 3 Fires in the Underworld for when we go for Hestia's Hearth play, because we want to attach 2 from our Underworld to the Champion Warmite, and then we want to also have 2 after the Spirit Enchanting the Hearth goes to the Underworld. We want to have 2 Fires in there for us to heal off the Champion Warmite effect. Other than that, we have 4 Thunder. This is honestly more than we actually need. But I always like having the capacity to continually re-enchant Ash Rabbit without turning off my remaining Thunder stuff. And also, there's quite a bit of Thunder stuff in the sideboard. So 4 is a really comfy number of Thunders here. We've got 3 Frosts. We have more to worry about than just the Frostmites, because we have the Cryoblast in here. So 3 feels like the correct amount. 2 Waters. We just have the Tsunamis plus any misenchants we want to do. 2 Tsunamis is what we need. And then 2 Winds for our Kite Mites. As well as some like Hurricanes and stuff like that in the sideboard. So yeah, that's the Spirit deck. Very comfy. I don't really have anything else I really want to squeeze in here. Earthquake would be nice to have, but like having to take 2 spirits away from any of these would be rather annoying. So I am not doing that. I don't even know where I'd fit in the Earthquake. Like over the 3rd Cryoblast, I guess would make the most sense. But I just don't think the Spirit Math agrees with putting in the 2 Earth for Earthquake. I also just really hate. I always just never really liked that Spirit Math on Earthquake. It's always super annoying. Super dependent on seeing Ambro to super work well. So something more comfortable like this is something I appreciate. And lastly, we have the sideboard. This is a bit different than before. I decided I was being a bit too cautious about Majesty with the 2 Titano Strike, 3 Thunderstorm. The only reason we were on that specific ratio for the Titano Strike stuff inside was so that we could find the Thunderstorm against Majesty, even if they get it up before we see Titano Strike. But like, I don't know. I don't think that it's necessary to be that cautious. And one of the big reasons I don't think it's necessary to be that cautious is because of bears, we are on 3 Pandora's Box in the side anyways. And Pandora's Box is also really effective at stopping Majesty players from getting their setup. So yeah. Other than that, we have the 3rd Kineo and 2 Boombat to help us against any like big Ascension decks. We have the 3rd Frostmite for any matchup where like we really need the defense modification more often, so we can bring this in. Or like if say like we're in a matchup where like let's say Cryoblast isn't so good. Okay, we can go bring in Frostmite. That's one of the cards we bring in, and not feel too bad about anything. To try to Titano Strike 1 Thunderstorm gives us pretty consistent access to Thunderstorm. If we feel it's less than necessary in the matchup, we can like drop the 2 Joltons to put in these 2 Titano Strikes. So that slots in pretty naturally. We have 2 Hurricane. This is to cover ourselves for any like rogue decks, any weird strategies that's like, okay, I really need to be able to force my playthrough here to get rid of the threat on your board. So we're gonna Hurricane to get rid of any of your interaction and ensure I get through here. Like that particularly comes up into decks like Majesty. I was also finding it very useful against like a Hermes deck I was testing against that was really focused on the Spinal Sack trickery stuff. That's another matchup where I feel Hurricane is pretty useful. Frostmite is also great there because you can go like Frostmite, drop this Spinal Sack's defense to 2, then Cryoblast to take it out, and Hurricane can get rid of their trickery so that they can't. So that they can't just fade out for another one. And then the remaining 3 slots in our sideboard are just the 3rd copy of Tsunami, PTA, and Shield, so that we can modify our counter ruin lineup as we see fit, depending on the matchup that we are running into. And that's it. With that said, that is the entire list, and I will see you guys after the first round. Alright, round 1 is done. We ended up actually with 129 registrants. However, unfortunately, about like 5 people did not submit their deck list. And as a result, they were dropped. So we ended up with a final amount of 124, which is still in the 7-round top 8 cut range. Basically, I don't think any X2s will make top cut now, which is unfortunate. I fought a Chronodial Starbit deck round 1. Also had Javelantis in there. Lots going on in there. Game 1, I didn't set the PTA I opened with because I was worried about Hurricane. And I got punished for it because they ended up Javelantising the turn that I set down the PTA, so I wasn't able to PTA it, and then I just wasn't able to clear the Javelantis. Very, very annoying. Games 2 and 3 was a pretty clean sweep. We brought in Titano Strike because they were on Poseidon and Trident is so annoying. Such an irritating piece of cardboard, that card. But we were able to find our Thunderstorm and pick apart that combo in both Game 2 and 3 and coast to a fairly easy victory. We were able to get Kineo set up in both games, and that was like, that changed everything. We almost came back into the first game too, because we were able to set up Champ Warmite with Hesia's Hearth set, so we were going to be able to crash with the Javelantis, take like 1 damage while healing. And then it was going to be like, okay, Javelantis is gone, I have a billion tools to deal with everything else you put out. but they had PTA and then Tsunami'd on the attack, so I wasn't able to get there in the end, which is very unfortunate. We couldn't misenchant the Warmite there either because we needed the full -9, considering they PTA'd. But yeah, that's round 1. We need to go X1 to make the top 8 cut, so let's try and make that happen. We got paired into Sure at round 2. Are you kidding me? Honestly, I should have won that. I really, really should have won that. Sure, it was on the Frost D5 stuff with Boreas and Bruinlinks. I had Rhino Sec stuff in there as well, which is neat. I just misplayed. I like sweeped game 1 pretty conclusively. Then game 2, it went to deck size because I had to crash my Jolton into his Norpoon, and that left us both on 0 spirits, and he had less cards in deck than I did. And it's just like, okay, yeah. Basically, the turn before he Rhinimphed, and I just brain farted, and I had my board was Warmite Champ and with Hearth set. He had 3 spirits when he ran out the Rhinimph, so he didn't have enough to do Rhinosec stuff. And what I should have done as soon as I saw that cast, I should have flipped the Hearth, enchant 2 onto the Warmite, -6 to Narpoon so it can't get over, and heal 2 fires. And if I do that, I just win the game. If I do that, I just win the game. Because the only reason I lost was because I didn't have the fire to properly enchant Warmite, the base set Warmite in my hand. And then game 3, I just completely flubbed it by running out of layer way too early when I shouldn't have, forgetting to set a PTA. But game 3 was also like, oh, I just saw no live counter runes. I saw 1 PTA, 1 Hearth, 1 Altar. Never see the Champ Warmite. And I'm never able to have a Nexus Bank for Altar to be live. So I lose the game because of that. And also because I ran out of layer early when I knew he had Boreas. I had the second layer in hand, but I knew I wanted to be using layer for Kineo Nexus thing at some point in that game. So I just super misplayed that. And if I'd played that properly, I would have won. But I just misplayed it. And yeah. Now we're X1 already. On one hand, that puts us in the X1 bracket. Which will most likely be easier than the XO bracket, at least for a while. But on the other hand, we are now immediately in round 2 in a spot where we have to win. We just have to win 5 rounds in a row now, or we can't make top cut. So you know. But we can afford, considering I imagine Short, I believe Short will make top cut. And that will give me a good tiebreaker. But the bigger problem with the tiebreaker is I'm losing here and going into the X1 bracket, which means like people I beat are like much more likely to end up dropping, and that is really bad for my tiebreaker. So I'm talking specifically in terms of, hey, can I make the top 32 as a 4-3? Because there are a few 4-3s who will make top 32, but we can't afford 1 loss and still make top 16. Or top 32, and get some more qualifying points. So that will be the goal. Because like getting to top cut from here is very difficult. That's going to be a tall order. Why is our pairing luck this bad? So we got paired into Shurit last round, right? This round, for round 3, get paired into Soulax. And it's like, what? Are you kidding me? I get paired into 2 real... Like, there aren't that many real players. Why am I getting paired into 2 of them in a row in rounds 2 and 3? Are you kidding me? We lost. We won game 1 super decisively. And then just game 2, Swolax goes first, and he just goes Werepup. And it's like, cool, man. I had to mulligan this game. And, like... We almost, I needed him to not have exactly Gorgon's Gaze 2 times in a row to claw my way back into the game, and he had exactly Gorgon's Gaze 2 games in a row. It's like, fuck off, man. That's so frustrating. And then game 3, we open a hand of Jolton, double layer, Ambro, Gorgons, and it's like, I feel like I have to keep this because, like, mulliganing is so bad. We do have a guy, we do have back row, we do have Ambro, we just need to draw in 2 more guys. So we run out the Jolton, we get layer, he runs out Sorlet, champ, crashes to get another Sorlet to hand. We draw, and we're able to run out a layer and a champ Warmite, drawing into a Hesiod's Hearth, which is pretty good, except for the fact that he has exactly the 1 of Earthquake, and then, like, the turn after runs out, the turn after he runs out the Werepup, and it's like, are you kidding me? We spent our Gorgon's Gaze and our deck hasn't given us any more real back row. Oh, we're so cooked. Like, if he didn't have exactly the Earthquake there, we're fine. But he had exactly the Earthquake. And that just completely cooked us. Very, very frustrated with that one. Like, now we're 1-2. Like, it's, like, probably impossible for us to make top cut now. Like, just because of bad pairing luck, which really, really, really sucks. I really hate the non-games that Werepup into, like, Void Champ creates. Like, it's just so unfun. Oh, so frustrating. So frustrating. We can still make top 16, and if we get really lucky, we can potentially squeeze into top 8, but that's not very likely. Right now, we are going for the top 16. And this is not good for my nerves. This is really not good for my nerves because, like, oh, cool, we're 3 rounds in, we've lost twice. Like, cool, man, that's great. All right, wish me luck. Yeah, I'm just really frustrated right now. Round 4, we're out. We lost. Fought Chrysor with, like, Aeolus and Aeolia and Findust. Got Hurricane, like, every game. Like, oh my god, played her, like, oh my god, just Hurricane into every back row constantly. Opened double Gorgons in game 2, and that was the only way they were able to win. I think they saw every Ambrosia in game 3. And were only able to win because of them seeing all 3 Ambrosia. Just absolutely ridiculous. Very frustrated with today's run. Like, the deck feels completely fine. I just ran to 2 hard matchups and then ran to the sackiest Chrysor player to ever exist. I'm not even going to do a conclusion section. Like, there's no point. We went 1-3. Like, I have no real conclusions to draw here. Alright, yeah, it's the next day. We are going to do a quick conclusions. But, like, it's difficult with this, right? Because, like, I really feel like the deck was completely fine. My mental was just bad, and I really screwed up. Like, I screwed up in round 2 in a situation where I had game, and then my mental just deteriorated from there. I think I sided wrong in round 4 as well. I think I should have been bringing in the Boom Bats once I realized that they were on Hurricane stuff. But it's just frustrating, right? It's just frustrating because the deck felt good. I don't know. Maybe Cryoblast I didn't really get to resolve. So maybe Cryoblast isn't so good here in the end. But if we drop Cryoblast, we almost certainly go back to Hestia, right? I have a hard time making a judgment on Alter because I didn't have a long enough run to really see if Alter could come up and be useful. But I don't think I got to resolve Alter a single time. So, like, cutting Alter is probably a correct move. Oh no, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to really make judgments on the deck based on my performance today because, like, in all 3 of those losses, I won game one in a complete sweep. Um, and then against Sherwood, I just misplayed. Against Swole, I just got rolled by Pup. And against Scary Dinosaur, I just got rolled by Cool Hurricane. My interaction doesn't exist now. So I don't. Yeah. I try not to get in my own head about like a bad day. It's rough when that bad day is in a premiere. Um, I don't really want to be making like sweeping changes to the deck based on like just a bad day. That I really think came down more to my play and my sideboarding and some luck than the build. So you know, like like obviously cutting Heskia's Hearth is not the play here because like that was what was winning me the game against Shurit. Um, Modifying the back row won't really change anything outside of like maybe going up to 3 shield because shield was because like the back row didn't matter in round four anyways because I was just getting Hurricane for my life savings every game and like anytime it really mattered my interaction was just getting turned off, which you know is a frustration in and of itself. Um, but yeah, I think that's going to be it. I don't I really don't want to make too many changes here because like the deck felt good. It was just misplay into getting rolled by Pup, into getting rolled by Hurricane, and like that just feels like a bad run. That doesn't feel like a deck thing. That feels like a my play slash my sideboarding slash my luck thing more than anything else. All right, that's going to be it for me. See ya.